We got a good one this week, and I'm always happy to introduce a new author. We speak about and we think about money because it's how we get around, that's how we do things, is how we enjoy life, or in some cases, if we don't have money, we're suffering a little bit. But my guest today is Sarah McCrum. She has written a book called Love Money, Money Loves You. And I got to tell you, I don't know, I've talked to a lot of people who have done what I consider channeled work or automatic writing work, where this information comes through on a certain occasion and it is so profound that you have to stop and go, what the heck is going on here? And this book is unique because somehow Sarah tapped into the energy of money to a degree where it is speaking to her on the different levels of acquiring money, how humans react and deal with money. And it's just very well written. I just endorse it completely. And we're really, really fortunate to have Sarah on the program. So, Sarah, welcome to Destiny. Just a great pleasure to have you on the program.
Oh, thank you. Such a warm welcome. I can really feel it inside me. It's like, it's beautiful.
We should say that I'm here in San Francisco Bay Area. You're in what part of Australia?
I'm on the Sunshine Coast in Australia.
Which
And I
is
have
what?
to say that because of your introduction, the energy of money is here somewhere as well with us, very present.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, the first thing I want to ask you is in the beginning of your book, you describe, I think you were reading a book on money, and part of the work was to write something down, or there was some workbook programs that they wanted you to work with. And what was happening? Talk about when this began coming through you as
Yeah.
you were writing, because this is really critical. Somehow you,
Yeah, somehow it happened. It was, first of all, totally by surprise. I had a lot of time on my hands because I'd just gone through a business failure, which came out of the recession in 2008. This
ah,
was 2010, and we finally had to close the doors, couldn't pay the bills, all that. It was a miserable
oh
experience.
boy.
And I was used to working pretty much 7 days a week, the usual entrepreneurial grind.
Yeah,
And so I literally can still remember I was sitting on my bed, nothing to do, and I'd been given this tiny little book called How to Become a Money Magnet. I
right.
wasn't able to pay the rent at that point, so it was a very critical situation. And it just had those simple questions at the end of each chapter, journaling questions, and one of them was, what would money like to say to you? And I was journaling, my pen just literally took over. Literally, it was like it started writing, and the words that were coming out couldn't possibly have been my words because the very first thing it said to me is, I would like to tell you to love me. Now, I could not have written that. I could never have even thought of loving money. I came from a family where you don't talk about money even. And it went on and said all these beautiful things and just said, I'm an energy, I'm very powerful and beautiful, and I'm not the devil. And I connect human beings together through your creativity. And it finished. I wrote about 2 pages completely fluently, not a single crossing or mistake. I've still got it in my cupboard here,
Wow.
handwritten. And it ended saying, don't wait, just take me. I will love you. And that was the beginning. And I started, it was like so intriguing and surprising and heart opening. It just, my heart melted when I read what it said because it was so different from anything I'd ever heard. And so the next day I said, do you have something else to say to me? And it did.
Oh, but and that's how the book started? You just kept going?
That's how the book was written. The book has basically, the only editing I did was, there are a few words that I changed in the whole thing, and there were one or two pieces I took out because I felt there was a bit too much of me in it. I'd probably just, been a bit moody or something that day. I didn't get not a really clear channel or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah.
So, and I organized the chapters, but they pretty much are in the order that I wrote them. The book is just the pure raw message from money. That's how it came out. All of that writing was without crossings out. It's extraordinary because if you would see me writing normally, it's a completely different
So they're
story.
handwritten. You're not typing these into the computer. They're
No,
handwritten
they're
in a journal.
handwritten, everything. Yeah, in a little notebook.
And this is, I guess you would define it as automatic writing, right? Which is,
Automatic writing, channeled writing, whatever yeah, there are different
yeah,
words. But yes, it feels like automatic writing because I would sit down and words would start to form not in my mind that I then transferred to the pen. It's almost like the words form in the pen and me and all at the same time. And so it's just a simultaneous experience.
Are you feeling a certain mental clarity when this begins to happen? When you grab your pen and you sit down to write, you go, I'm ready to go, money. Whenever you want to bring it through. I mean, how does it
I think
feel?
sitting down in that moment where I sit down because I know that that's what I'm doing, that's the preparation. It's just the
Hmm.
decision. I'm now open to whatever money wants to say to me. So I don't go through any rituals or anything like that to
Oh,
connect with the energy of money. It's just there. It's
I,
always there. And I'm open. What happens for me is because I'm receiving this information from money, nothing else is present. I am quite able, like in this conversation now, I'm not thinking about breakfast or I'm not thinking about anything except communicating with you with some awareness that there's an audience out there. So I'm 100% in this. It's just the same as that. When I'm writing, I'm 100% in writing. So I'm not thinking about, you know, the laundry or normal everyday stuff. I'm just 100% present for whatever's happening.
has money told you that you are not the only one that it is communicating on this level?
Yes. Actually, there were a whole lot of books that came through about money around that time. Most of them tend to get interpreted at a much more businessy level, so much
Hmm.
more pragmatic. Mine was more like, what is the energy of money that's behind business and money and all of everything that happens? But there was a little flurry of books. So I know it was like money at that time, or the energy of money was really trying to help us get a better understanding of it. You can see in some even back, you can go back more than 100 years. There was a guy called Wallace Wattles who wrote a little book. I can't remember the name of it now. Beautiful book about what money really is. He was somewhat religious, so it was all tied in with God, but
Hmm.
it's the essence was the same. And I teach people how to write messages from money. It's not like there's a fancy art to it. I just say, okay, here you are. Now go and write a message from money. And they do. And it says the same kind of things. That's what's important. It doesn't go and say to somebody else, you know, you've messed up your life and you're an idiot and you know, it never talks like that. It's an energy of love and
Hmm.
beauty and generosity and the natural abundance that literally our soul longs for. And, you know, in our souls, we love abundance. We're not ashamed or embarrassed about it. As human beings, we've been taught to be ashamed and embarrassed about it, or
Hmm.
to crave it, or to be greedy, all these things. But at a soul level, that your soul really resonates with the abundance of life. And money is a part of that.
Where do you think money resides in the galactic awareness? Is it on a different level? Is it here on some human level, on Earth, resonating, vibrating? Where do you think it resides?
So I think I can answer that question in different levels. So there's a level at which this is what I've come to recognize over the years because I've been working with it for quite a while now. There's a level at which the energy of money is actually the energy of the exchange of value across the
Mm.
universe through life. So it's the same energy that when we breathe out carbon dioxide that a tree breathes in, a tree breathes out oxygen that we breathe in. There's an exchange of value happening there. And that's the energy of money is in that.
Hmm.
So money is all fundamentally at a deeper level. It's about value always. You
Value.
know, it's the essence of money is value, and money as we see it is a system we've created to enable more sophisticated exchanges of value. So we don't just have a barter exchange that is happening all the way through every form of life. At another level, and this really came from the book, it's very funny in some parts because it talks about this almost like a bureaucracy in the sky kind of thing, a energy organization with
Really?
ledgers. And yeah, that's how I saw it when I was writing it. It's like there are all these beings there and they have their ledgers, and when some human being says, oh, I really want a thing in the shop there, but I can't afford it. They write down, you know, Cliff wants to buy da 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 dot dot dot, but he can't afford.
Oh, you're breaking up a little bit.
I'm sorry. I think I'm just going to
Yeah,
change my.
we just broke up here for a second. So.
Just give me a moment.
Okay.
I just want it to stabilize. Okay. I should be back properly now. Where did you get to in there? Do you need me to go back a little bit?
No, it's okay. We'll spend enough time where I can just edit stuff out. It's not a problem. There's a lot that I'm trying to get from you. You're doing an excellent job of defining it. How would you say money was approaching us during the previous generations, like our ancestors, say, like prior to the monetary systems being built up, like when we were more of the medieval periods and following that? Was it the same? I mean, it's somewhat similar, I should say. I guess my
It's the
question to
same
you is,
energy.
yeah, it's an energy. So, but we've made it more pronounced in the most recent decades, our need to acquire money and to have things. So,
So I think there's a couple of different things I see what you're getting at. So if we go back in history, the simplest systems of exchange we had between human beings were systems of barter and also gift systems
yeah,
that they used to have in some First Nations peoples. They weren't necessarily exchanging something for something, but they had quite elaborate systems of giving things that had
right.
symbolic meaning and all of that. So that's the same energy, and the same energy actually that animals and plants give themselves to us to be eaten so that they feed us. And when we end our life, we actually give ourselves back into life as well. So there's always this exchange going on at multiple levels. But I think what's happened is, because what I understand about life as it evolves is it becomes more complex. So we have a much more complex system now. We have in there certain distortions because at every level, human beings interpret this energy through their emotional and other filters.
Mhm.
And we've adopted some understandings about money that are quite distorted from what was shared with me. And that when you push those distortions quite a long way, so for example, if there's a distortion in a company being that its first priority is profit, and
Yes.
that profit can be at the expense of quite a lot of things of value. It can be at the expense of relationships, it can be at the expense of nature, it can be at the expense of the human beings, the employees who work there,
Mhm.
often working incredibly hard and all of that. So when we make money the center in that kind of way rather than value, which is what money actually represents, then we get these distortions. When those distortions go a long way, you start to get a system like we have now, where the money system itself just feels completely out of alignment with human values. And
Yeah.
it keeps getting worse and worse, but we can also see that the implosion is happening. It's not able to sustain itself anymore in this particular distortion.
One of the things that you bring up in the you money brings up in the book is the fact that monetary values are changing in the future, and in the future there will be different ways of accumulating money, and it seems to me like the message is it'll be easier. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I think I can already see that in my life and experience and in working with clients. I can see that as we understand the energy of money better, we actually behave differently in relation to it. And it makes us make different systems. So I'm now involved in two other businesses that are trying to build systems, business systems, if you like, that are based on these principles. And then they involve naturally well-being. You prioritize well-being in a business that respects the principles that money shared with me. There's a mutuality. You don't try to extract as much as you can out of people or out of nature and pay as little as possible for it. You recognize the value of everything that's contribute to a business, and you try to reflect that fairly in pricing and in all the business things. So that's a first layer where we're beginning to design different businesses and doing business in different ways. And I'm literally in the middle of these conversations. Just before I was talking with you, I was literally in these conversations right now, putting all of that together so
Hmm.
that we can do business in a way that feels right for us as human beings. It's like, I want to be involved in that. It's respectful, it has dignity, it has love baked into it, because that's what we are. And it's about well-being. It's about enhancing the well-being. Who wants to make money out of sickness? And like we have to deal with sickness, but
Yeah.
we don't want to make an industry out of sickness or an industry out of death.
Yeah.
We need to we want to make an industry out of health and vitality and creativity and productivity, genuine productivity of the brilliance of human beings, not the weakness of human beings. That's a healthy society. To
Yeah.
me, it's so obvious. I don't understand why we don't just agree with it and get on with it.
Well, that's why it was so wonderful about listening to Money speak through you, which is when you have ideas that are of service to others, this is where you can manifest large amounts of money, depending on the larger picture, groups, things like that. Talk about that because I thought that was very impactful.
So my experience, what I've come to understand is that we are in an evolution in relation to money itself at the moment. And whereas money in recent times, as you pointed out, has gone a lot to certain types of people and certain types of behavior, and we're not enjoying that very much, most of us now, it seems that there's a shift in the it's almost like a shift in the expression of money itself towards greater alignment with purpose. Now, we already see there's plenty of evidence that actually shows that purpose aligned businesses perform better
Hmm.
financially as well as in other ways. But what's interesting is I think also they have a different curve. So many people in today's world are trying to chase this like explosion of wealth and very fast growth. A purpose aligned business will have a different pathway because you tend to be more steady. You have to be very determined. You keep going for a long time. The success that it's possible to create through that, the words that come to me, like I want to say, we really don't have any idea how powerful it is to actually align purpose and money. The challenge is we still think we need to perform in the way that the marketing tells us. But it's a different path because when you align purpose with money, you align values with wealth. And so you create wealth in a different way, and you create wealth in multiple dimensions. It's not just how much money have you got is your wealth, but
Yeah.
it's what's the quality of your life, what's the quality of your relationships, both business and personal, what's the wisdom that you bring into your decisions, because if you don't make wise decisions in the future, that's going to have consequences, and your business and your wealth will fall off a cliff.
Are you
So many
suggesting
things
that,
become part of it.
okay, excuse
that
me. Yeah. Are you
yeah.
suggesting that we should be more intuitive in how we approach money and not necessarily focus so much on the business of making money, which is like we go to and become an MBA and we do the corporate kind of levels to success. Whereas perhaps if we're more individual and we have a passion and a love for a project, this is a better way to move.
I would say, yeah, definitely you will not learn any of this stuff if you go the MBA corporate route. They are in really strong denial of most of what I'm talking about, which is why it's often so uncomfortable for people. There are very good people in it doesn't mean that a company can't be large, and there are very good people and very good companies. But typically the MBA corporate route is very money focused, and it's not like we always come back to value. So the thing that doesn't work is being really passionate about something and ignoring business,
Right,
because that's what a lot of people try to do. And
right.
they say, oh, I really care about this. I want to serve. I want to help people. I want to change the world. But when it comes to business, I don't know how to ask for money. And I feel really shy and embarrassed. And I want to be a non-profit. It's like, well, who's going to pay for you as a non-profit? It's that business that goes out and makes profit.
Yeah.
You're going to go and have to beg to them to get your non-profit going.
Hmm.
So let's be grown up about this and recognize money is the fuel of business. Money, the way I put it, I just love this. Let's say you provide me with a service and I give you some money as my part of the exchange. I've given you a piece of freedom. I've given you something. You can do whatever you want with that money, and I'm not putting any tie on it whatsoever. I'm not saying you can only go and spend that on food, Cliff. I don't want you to spend it on books because I don't like books or something. It's like you can do whatever you want with the money that I put in your direction. So I'm actually giving you freedom rather than a thing. That's the beauty of this system, is that it enables us to have so much freedom. And that's part of the sophistication of today's financial system, is on the one hand, yeah, that distortion is in there, but on the other hand, it is a system that's enabling very significant freedoms for us. And
One
we
of the
didn't have those
things,
freedoms before.
yeah, one of the things that is really pushed and highlighted in your book is that money says we are unlimited.
Yeah.
I want you to talk a little bit about that because I think a lot of people feel that, and I don't know if it's because of their upbringing or society's norms, but I think most of us have felt that there's only so much to go around.
Yes, this is another one that works on so many different levels. At one level, the flow of value, the exchange of value, included in value is love. Is there really a limit to love that can flow between human beings that turns into us doing things for each other, contributing to each other's lives? There isn't really. I mean, there's a sort of physical limit that I'm not going to live forever. And so within my lifetime, I'll be able to contribute a certain amount. But
Yeah.
it's not like, well, you can only do this, Sarah, because then it's all going to stop. It's up to me to think about how I do that. You're not going to say, well, I just want to stop my podcast here. I don't want any more listeners. You'd probably love to have more listeners. You've already grown it to be huge, and you'd love to grow more because you're
Yeah.
doing something valuable for people. So, and there's no limit to that, really. Now, of course, yes, you can't have more than 7 billion, and you're not going to have 7 billion listeners to your podcast because we have other podcasts and all of that, and
Yeah.
that's all fine. But I think the point is, what we've grown up with is this feeling that if I give some money to you, I've lost and you've gained. We all have that in us somehow.
Yeah.
And at a technical, very limited level, that's true. But when you see that money is energy, you see it's a flow. And my thinking these days is when I pay for something, I'm actually opening up the flow. And that's what I've seen to be the case, that when I've got stuck with money, it's been a bit low, I usually tighten up everything, which is sensible.
Yeah.
Don't spend money. But I get too tight, and then it's like, okay, I can manage. I don't need any more. And money says, oh, she doesn't need any more. Okay, well, we'll leave her alone with her tight little. And when I start to say, no, I want something good for myself, this is an
Yeah.
act of love to myself, it always opens up the flow again. Now, that's not to say I go and blow everything or I do something really stupid. We have to be, we have constraints, and we live in unlimited and constrained at the same time.
Yeah.
And so we're learning how to, we have bodies. I can't be in America and Australia right now, but I'm pretty close because I'm looking at your beautiful picture.
You provide us with a really interesting analogy of a room full of, I'm just going to call them accountants who are writing down
Yeah.
individual wishes. I want to have
Yes.
this dress. I want this car and so forth. Why is that analogy important for the reader or the listener? And by the way, those of you listening, Sarah has a fantastic audible narration of this book that is just worth the price of gold. So if you're not a big reader like I am, get the audible version. But anyhow, getting into
And it's
my
also on Spotify. It's useful because lots of people are reading it on Spotify these days, which
oh,
is
is it
very
on
cool.
Spotify? Yeah,
Yeah, it's on Spotify too.
yeah.
So why is it important to understand that there is almost like a kind of the money department in
Yeah, the money department. Yeah.
the sky, the intangible governance systems of our planet? It's important because it helps you to understand what's actually happening when you want something.
Hmm.
So I can unpack that a little bit. It's literally like when you say, let's say, I don't know, you say, I really want to get the word comes into my mind is fishing rod, and it's such a silly thing to think about fishing rods. But okay, well, let's say a fishing rod, or if you're not into fishing, I really want to get something for me, or for my business, or for my children, or for my whoever it is. There's something you really want. That's a wish. Okay. And especially when it's not a heady wish, it's something like it comes from your soul and your heart. You just love it. I would really love that. Your face lights up. Beautiful wish. Okay. When that wish is formed inside you, it's just like that moment. I'd love that. That's the wish formation. That's written down in a ledger in this kind of, it's a bit like Akashic Records or something.
Yeah.
I think it's really like that, probably. I don't know much about Akashic Records, but this is a record keeping system. So they write down in the ledger, Cliff wants a really beautiful, expensive, really fancy fishing rod, or whatever it is. And then the thoughts and feelings you have are like the qualifiers. So when you go to Amazon, you say, I want to buy a t-shirt. So you look up t-shirts on Amazon, but then you say, it's not any old t-shirt. I want a white t-shirt and I want it with patterns on it and I want a size medium, da da da. So this is where we put conditions on our wish. So, but there are conditions that human beings put, like, I really want that beautiful fishing rod, but I can't afford it. And people like me never get fishing rods like that because I can only get the cheapest of everything because I'm poor. Can you see? All of that's an instruction too. And so they have to write in their book because they're under very strict laws. They're not like us, do whatever you want. It's like you have to follow the law. Cliff wants beautiful fishing rod. We register that. So we're here to organize that for him. But the conditions are that people like him never get fishing rods like that. So we've got to wait until he opens up that it's actually possible for him to get one. And they have to work so hard to keep our conditions precise, to keep to our conditions. So it's like putting in an order to Amazon, you pay for it, and then you lock your letterbox and you lock your door and you don't let the post person anywhere near you. They've got it ready for you, but you won't let them deliver it to you. That's what we do with our thoughts, our feelings, our energy as well,
Mm-hmm.
and of course our actions.
Yeah. The book is a wonderful progression of ideas, thoughts, and practices. Would you say after the person reads the book or perhaps listens to the audible recording that they've been prodded to begin shifting to allow money to come in more frequently, or what do you feel after having this book out as long as you have?
What I found is that people, the minute they read the first chapter of it, the first message that I got, something starts to shift inside them. A lot of people experience the energy. Some people, when they pick up the book, it's literally warm in their hands. Literally, yeah. A lot of people feel it's like they can feel the truth. There are many people who've read every book about money under the sun, all the new wealth books, Napoleon Hill through to Jack Canfield, Bob Proctor, The
Oh my
Secret,
God.
all of
Yeah.
that. They've read all of them and they say this is the first time I felt that it's like it goes to a deeper truth. It's not that there's nothing wrong with those books. They're fantastic. Those
Yeah.
people have made such a difference to us.
Yeah.
But this takes you into that place that resolves the conflict we mostly have about money. So people say it feels true. Lots of people get financial results while they're reading it, like surprises. So I saw this incredible testimonial review of the book on Goodreads the other day. I actually had never linked up my Goodreads account properly. And I went and had a look. And this guy had been for years completely stuck in his life. And he said he'd got a six-figure job that was perfectly aligned with who he is while he was reading the book because he had changed his experience of money. It was amazing. I had another guy I spoke to once in an interview like this, actually, and he went to somebody who was working for, he realized he was charging too little. And in a single conversation, tripled what he was being paid. Now, I'm not saying these examples as like, okay, go and expect some amazing miracle happens to everybody. Everyone has their own journey. Okay, I don't want to set and these things happen because we relax and open up, not because we go and try really hard to work with the energy of money. There's a very relaxed connection between us and money. The harder you try, the harder it is.
Yeah, and that's the takeaway that I got, which is let it happen, don't fight it, ask for something, and then think about it, and just keep, don't say I don't deserve it. It's we have so
Yeah,
many
just
bad
let go of all
habits.
this. Let go of all of the, I don't deserve it, I'm not worth it, I can't afford it. Maybe you can't afford it right now, but that's not to say you won't be able to. So just stay
Yeah.
open. I love this thing. I want this thing. It's perfectly normal to say, I can't do it this month. That's
Yeah.
just a fact.
Yeah.
Maybe not next month, but I want it. I really want that to come into my life.
I want you to address this one statement that comes through the book a few different times, which is money is unlimited and each of us can be a billionaire. When I heard that, I was so shocked. I was like, oh my God. Because that's like unlimited resources, resources that you can help generations of your family,
Yeah.
and maybe that's what the idea is that you are able to help others.
I think that's where, I mean, at a technical level, it's an unlimited energy. As I said before, there's not really a limit to what we can contribute to other people, the value we can create.
Hmm.
There's a limit, yes, if we're relying on a certain amount of metal that exists in the earth to use it. Even those things are changing because I know they'll start mining asteroids and things. But it's not so much about that. I don't want to get into that area, but there isn't really a limit to human creativity.
Right.
So that's that piece that's really important. But I think what's especially important is that when you start to want to do good with money, so you're not conflicted around it anymore. You're not just trying to take as much as you can, knowing that you're doing harm and ignoring it and living with massive cognitive dissonance, but you're actually genuinely doing something that is good for life, good for people, good for nature, good
Mm.
for community, good for us, then you naturally start to take the borders off your thinking. And somebody said it to me really beautifully the other day. He said it becomes about what's possible for me to contribute rather than how much can I earn or how much can I make.
That's a whole different mindset that is really very positive.
It's beautiful.
You're looking
Yeah.
beyond your own existence into others.
Yes.
And would you say this is the path of somebody like Elon Musk who created these wonderful electric cars, although they're not always wonderful, but somebody who has a greater audience in mind?
He's an interesting example. He has like there are very few limits to his creativity and his ability to turn that creativity into reality, and he does it beautifully. I have Starlink.
Oh, very
I
good.
had Starlink at my last house, and I have a traveling Starlink here. And I've just put in the normal Australian, what's called NBN, National Broadband Network, and it's compared to, like, Starlink is brilliant. Things don't
Yeah.
go wrong with it, and when they go wrong, they correct themselves. And I'm back on the clunky system. It's like, oh my god, what's happening? I just moved house, so he's brilliant in that. I would say he would be surprised by what's in my book. So I think there is a love of exploration and all of that kind of thing with him. But I think there's some stuff that emerges that makes, like, I'm curious about the sustainability. It's very curious to see where he'll go. And it's very
Right.
difficult to, there's so much noise around him, it's very difficult to tell what's true. I think that he works at such a pace that he probably doesn't really take care of his own well-being. And I think there's probably a cost to the well-being of others. We know, or I hear that there is, there are children mining lithium. I don't want to
Oh,
make it,
yeah.
I don't like to politicize those things because it doesn't help. But I think that when we become more conscious of these things, we start to try to create benign systems in every direction. I think he does quite a lot of that, but every single one of us, including me, like, I have my Starlink, and so I'm using these products. We're all participating in that system that needs so much more well-being contributed to it. And I
Yeah.
think we all have a responsibility to lead in that space. So I think he's an extraordinary leader in terms of creativity and making certain aspects of life work better for us. And
Yeah.
other people will contribute other pieces, and we need all of them. We can't rely on one person to have it all.
I have the feeling that what you are delivering in this work is obviously a new way to look at money and resources, but also behaviors.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
a huge problem is that we've been trained how to behave around money, and it's not necessarily the way to go, is it?
It isn't, and we're trained every single day. Every single advert that you see is essentially trying to manipulate you, first of all, usually in most examples, to feel inadequate about who you are, so that you'll go and buy something to fill that gap.
Yes.
And the truth is that there is nothing inadequate about who you are, and you may want to buy some things to enjoy your life more. That's a very different message. So, at every level, we're being trained all the time. We're being trained by AI, we're being trained by social media platforms, we're being trained by messaging all around us in an unhealthy relationship with money, which translates into an unhealthy relationship with ourselves.
Hmm.
And, we are not inadequate, but we all want more of things. We're here to evolve and grow. So when we turn that around, it's a completely different formula. And it's a different formula for doing business. It's a different formula for marketing and communication in business. These are some of the things that I've had to really work on, because I can't go out and just do that. I can't go out and make people feel inadequate so they buy my course. It's just unethical.
Yeah,
It's just downright unethical.
exactly. Talk a little bit about what money has to say about debt, because I was just totally taken by the whole idea of how to deal with debt. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's really useful actually to recognize that when somebody lends you some money, they're lending you some energy. They've
Right.
actually created that piece of wealth with their own energy, and they're giving the power of that energy to you. And so, first of all, I think it's really important to respect that. Don't don't take it for granted, but respect it. It's really important. Money very much emphasizes it's not debt is not wrong. It's useful in some circumstances. I think not very many, but we need it sometimes. It's really important, if you take on debt, to make sure that you're able to pay it back.
Hmm.
Otherwise, take a gift. Like, if you don't think you can pay it back, see if you can turn it into a gift, because otherwise you're lying to yourself and you're lying to the other person. Well, let's get honesty in our relationships with money. And then in terms of paying debt off, which where a lot of people get so stuck and they get so negative about the debt that they put all this negative energy around it, which makes it difficult to pay off. If you simply take responsibility, like, I've created it, I've borrowed this energy from somebody else, and I need to make that right. And then it's just like the way we make money. When you're able to engage with money and ask for it and create pathways to receive it, income streams,
Hmm.
business, a job, whatever it is, be open to that and appreciate it. And then some of that you allocate to paying off your debt, some you allocate to your life expenses, some you allocate to saving. There are lots of programs that help you with that. But when you start to just take responsibility and recognize it's a fact, borrowed this energy from somebody, need to pay it back, want to pay it back, and then you can get on with it. And it changes the whole dynamic. And I've seen people do that. I've seen people get amazing results with debt.
I mean, I can see like a mortgage where you're happy you got a new house and you're paying it off, and smaller debts, but critical debts like college debt is so heavy and overwhelming. My cousin went to medical school. He was $200,000 in debt, and he's still not out from under it, even though it's been 10 years since he graduated. So
I
how
know
do we not
it's a
make that
horrible
negative?
system.
Because it becomes a crutch.
Yes, and this is where we really ultimately need to redesign our systems. It's not right that our doctors, who people rely on for their health, are straddled with that level of debt. Can you imagine if we had a society without any doctors? I mean, I can
Oh
imagine a
no.
society with a lot of healers, and that's wonderful, but we're not there yet. We need our doctors. We have a bad system there, I would say. But given that that's what we have to deal with it. I mean, it is the same principle. The only thing I can say, really, and what my book says all the way through, is if you relax and if you enjoy money, it flows more easily.
Hmm.
So even if you have landed with a lot of debt, being tense about it and worried about it is not going to help you, because when you're tense and worried, you contract. You
Right.
actually contract and close down from the energy of money, from the flow of money and the flow of solutions the flow of creativity, and you have more and more stress. The more stress you have, the less energy you have. You get tired.
Mhm.
So it's a black hole, really. So even if you have a lot of debt, the first instruction from money is to relax. And the second instruction from money is to enjoy, just enjoy your life because you're more open. And the third instruction from money is to love it. Love money, money loves you. Relax, enjoy, love. They're very powerful commands, really, or prompts from the energy of money, how to shift your relationship with it. And think of it, it's just like a partner. If you're constantly worried and stressed about your relationship, you can have an awful relationship. If you
Yeah.
relax and enjoy your relationship, you have a much better chance of having a good one.
There's a quote in your book that says money is like the yin and yang of existence is how you put it.
Mm.
And I read that, and to my mind it felt like this is an embodiment. This is part of being human. When we incarnate, this energy of money is here for us to facilitate our existence.
Yes, beautifully put. You're so right. It's an energy, in a way, it serves us. And interestingly, we also serve it. Money gets energy from us receiving what we want. It gets energy from fulfilling our wishes. There's a beautiful collaborative circulation of energy there. And in terms of the yin and yang, so you've got a kind of yin and yang there, even. You've got us as very material beings, and then you've got the energy of money, which is very is, let's say, more yin, and the material is more yang. But also money doesn't work well as an over masculinized, as an over yang energy, or as an over yin. If it's all love and soft and ever expanding and unlimited and formless, we can't do much with it. But when we bring clarity, the clarity of our desires and our achieve the things we want to achieve, we
Mm.
bring that along with this infinite loving abundance and generosity, and we bring those together, and then we can direct them. That's very powerful.
What do you see or what do you get from your communications with money on what the future looks like? If it's going to be easier to acquire and manifest money, how is that? What does that look like?
It's more ephemeral in a way. We will manifest more directly. Which what that means is that we actually become more conscious beings. We become better people. Because if you're in a very negative state, it's difficult to manifest anything except more negativity. And
Hmm.
so there's a discipline that comes in. As you learn about money, there's a discipline around how you behave in your own life, because you begin to realize how powerful you are. And so your entire manifestation kind of inner apparatus, your inner technology becomes much more sophisticated.
Hmm.
And what I see, I mean, I already see in my life the way some of the business relationships that I have manifested, there is no possible way in the world, in normal business, that I could have been introduced to those very precise people without meeting hundreds of other people that I never had to meet. I just meet the one right person here and bring them together to be able to do things. And it's extraordinary because no money can buy the right person. Money can pay the right person, but to find them and that they've got that right spirit and alignment, that's a really different thing. And that doesn't come from job searches and, oh, I know somebody who, that comes, like, it really comes through manifestation. And it's
Mhm.
so beautiful to experience that. So many things now, because I do have a mission, if you like. I'm very purpose centered. So many things get supplied to me in order for me to be able to do what I'm doing. And I know that the energy of money is always working in the
Mm.
in the hidden realms. It's always there working behind me and helping.
Is it that service related work and businesses are a priority for money because it gives other people opportunity? Or is it
Yeah.
just the individual and their choices that helps
It's
motivate money?
both. Money flows on lines of energy and enjoyment and appreciation, these kinds of things. If you go a long way with an extractive relationship with money, the joy goes out of it. Just there's no joy in the end in being either a slave in a corporate machine or running a corporate machine that is just trying to extract as much as possible for
Mm.
the wealth of a very few people. It's very fun for a while, but there comes a point where the energy turns in on itself. When we experience joy doing business, it's a very different experience. When we have within us the ability to be generous in business and not afraid all the time of losing, it's so different. So there isn't money's actually oriented automatically towards service, but it is like everything, it evolves too. So I would say we are in a period of evolution from this over masculinized, very yang relationship with money to a more balanced relationship that is more respectful of life and of well-being.
Do you
And look, we
see,
haven't, it's not assured. We have to step in to make sure that that happens.
so do you see people manifesting money easier, or is it more that society figures it out and there is actual steps that lead to more abundance?
It's both. It's both. You can't
Wow.
have one without the other, because if you can manifest more for yourself, you will automatically go and manifest more for other people. You will contribute. You have to. It's like that's inevitable. So that happens. At the same time, the as bigger systems, I'm in touch with lots of people who are building new systems built on these principles. As they become more prevalent, it improves the lot of ordinary people because they're in a system that supports their well-being and wealth as well. So it
Mm.
works both ways.
I see you as extremely unique, Sarah. Very, very unique. A beacon for this new thinking. Do you see or do you feel there's others like you out there that are maybe in different industries or philosophies or whatever,
Yeah.
kind of also stroking this new energy?
Yes, there are people. I'm very outspoken, if you like, and I'm happy to sit here and talk with you and share weird and wacky stuff because
Yeah,
I've seen it every day. I don't any longer have the fear that people will say, "Oh, she's woo woo," because it's not woo woo. It's just
yeah.
true, and it's proven. For me, it's proven, and I see it in other people. I think there are many people. There are many hidden people who actually are really having all kinds of extraordinary experiences and knowing, and that all contributes to the general field. There are, of course, plenty of different forms of uniqueness on this planet. And what I see is the more we step into our uniqueness, like you do your thing, you're so in your space doing your thing. This interview, I can feel it with everything that you say, you're doing your thing. And that's your uniqueness. The more of us who do that, the more space it creates for all of us actually to do that. And I feel that one of the changes is that it's not about the lonely hero anymore. It's not a Sarah waving the flag for the energy of money or a somebody else, some guy out there who's got the answer. It's
Yeah.
that our answers open it up for all of us to be the solution.
Yeah, I keep thinking of the yugas, and I don't know if you know anything about the Hindu yugas. It's cyclic, and we're coming out of this
Yeah,
dark period called the Kali Yuga, but the periods that precede we're coming up to are much more light, where we can manifest easier,
yeah.
and there is more satisfaction of being incarnated.
Well, think back to the 90s. We barely were talking about this stuff then.
Oh, yeah,
Think, just think from the moment really that the Secret movie came out, people can have whatever opinions they like about it, but it changed our world because
yeah.
so many people saw it. Suddenly we were talking about manifestation and people were learning it all over the world. Think what Abraham Hicks. I love the way that this disembodied being has a surname. But think
Abraham,
about,
yeah, Hick, the husband and wife team that
yeah, that's
he came
right.
through the
And
woman.
he came through the woman, through the curiosity of the man. The man
Yes,
asked all the questions. She
yes.
received all, she was the channel. but hugely influential in the world of manifestation. So it's a topic now. So it's already getting easier. I see it every single day. I see people literally 1 week they'll ask a question about something. A week later they come back shining, saying, Sarah, it worked. And I didn't tell them, do this in your business and do this and do this. I helped them shift their energy around something so that they could do things better. And it
Hmm.
works. And then they go and, something else comes along and they try that. So manifestation is so much easier than it was when we were younger. And
I'm glad to
it's
hear that.
liberating.
Yeah, I'm really glad to hear that. In our closing minute or two, can you give, without naming names, some examples of people who have been using your tools and have had some success?
Yes, but sometimes it's hard to choose because there are so many examples crowd into my mind. Like literally, I have actually this is very sweet, and we'll see how it works. I have a young woman at the moment who's just doing her very first business. And she decided before she started it that she was going to have a love affair with money. And she got into conversation with money, and money's actually guiding her on how to put this business together. Now, I've yet to see the results, but I know that if she stays on the path, and she's got some guidance from me as well, she's finding a way to, and money asked her to teach about money, funnily enough,
Oh
and
my
about
God.
having this love affair with money. It's so beautiful to see that. So,
Yeah.
at one end, that's still somewhat intangible, but it's changed her life because it would be hard, I think. She's quite shy, quite hard for her to go out and put herself out there, but she's doing it
Wow.
because of this relationship with money. At the other end, I've seen people who've paid. I had someone who paid off all her student debt in a year. She thought she was never going to pay it off in the rest of her life. She paid it all off and saved some money in the 1 year of doing a course where she learned about money. And she was so, when she came and told us, you can see the relief and the happiness and it's like, I did this. It's such an achievement. I've seen somebody pay off hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt and start investing also in a year. And I've seen people take longer. I've seen a woman. There was a wonderful woman actually during COVID who was trying to raise some investment for a business, and everyone said, "Forget it. COVID can't do anything."
Yeah.
And she was learning about money, real money, and she said, "No, I don't think that's true." And she went out and she raised a lot more. She got a lot more interest than she needed, even.
Hmm.
So, and everyone else in the course she was doing, the business kind of incubator, they were all stuck. Like they couldn't get it. So money listens to us.
Love that.
And
The-
what it really loves, it doesn't like it when we have fantasies that are really unreal, like, oh, I want to live in a palace on the ocean with a dream, the perfect, handsome, you know, whatever it body. When we have
yeah.
these silly fantasies, it doesn't that doesn't work very well. But when we connect with something that we really would love to experience, it listens to us. It's hearing every single bit, it's writing every bit in that ledger. And our job is to relax and enjoy and love and have some clarity and say yes when it's offered to us, make businesses, provide service, be a good human being. Simple things that we're capable of doing, and it does the rest.
It sounds like we need to keep listening and listening on a regular basis. It's so funny when you keep saying that. It's like I'm thinking there's little voices that are talking to you, and that could be money. It's
Yes,
just
it could
funny.
well be.
Yeah, the
In
book's
a way,
called,
well, that's right. That's right.
yeah,
That money, that energy of manifestation of your desires, of your wishes, is talking to you and listening to you and
wow,
prodding you sometimes and guiding you. Yeah.
that's amazing. The book's called Love Money, Money Loves You. My guest today has been Sarah McCrum. Talk about your coursework, how people can learn more about the book, and I think you have a YouTube channel as well.
I have a YouTube channel, which if you look up my name, you'll find it very easily, Sarah McCrum. It's really simple. The best place to start is with the book. If you read the book, you get some gifts. You can sign up for the gifts inside the book, which will give you a bit of experience of the energy of money. I have a course for people who are reading the book or want to go deeper into the book, which is, a low cost course. I have a big 1 year program that people can join if they want to go really deep and really build true wealth in their life.
Mm.
Everything's on my website, which is my name, sarahmccrum.com. So it's quite straightforward.
It is, and I really appreciate you providing a direct approach to money. It's not like you have to take a 12-step course and for 10 years you need to go through the course and then at the end you figure out that you can use or can't use money.
No, no, it usually starts working very quickly. We
Yeah.
all have our own pacing. I was probably one of the slower ones, funnily enough. Some people are
Yeah.
very fast, get very quick results. Some people more slowly. Doesn't really matter. You probably know who you are already.
Hmm.
And, but as long as you're sincere, it works.
Does money have another book for you in the wings waiting to come forth or what? What's the story there?
I have half written a children's book. It says in the book that there's going to be a children's book, and I've been a little bit unreceptive to that, probably because I've been so busy. I wrote
Yeah.
another book that's called Wrestling with Freedom, which is actually really looking at the dark side of money and the world and how we face the really challenging parts of all of that and kind of transmute that into power
Hmm.
and freedom. So it's beautiful. It's very different from the money book, but it's actually tackling it's literally tackling some of those issues around control and greed and the dark side of it, and just like, how do we find freedom, how do we find true creativity in the midst of all of that? So it's part of the same story.
Sarah, it's been a pleasure speaking with you, and I appreciate you coming on the program. I think you have a very interesting future. I want to have you come back on at least in the next 12, maybe 20 months, just kind of follow
I'd
up.
love to.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So
Yeah, I'd love
thanks.
to do that.
Appreciate it.